For my leadership interview assignment, I chose to interview Sabina Osman. She is about to graduate with a master's in business management, and she got her undergraduate degree in sustainability. I chose to interview her because she is not only an incredible human, but she's also the mastermind behind the movement Unlitter. This is an organization that she started that basically strives to spread awareness about keeping our planet clean and just to promote and encourage and start the conversation about unlittering. She says the main goal of this brand is to help challenge people to be more aware of their surroundings and to work to better themselves and the environment. It started in a really cool and organic way. So she started by just printing out a bunch of stickers that just said #Unlitter and posting these stickers all around campus, using the hashtag more on her Instagram. She encouraged her friends to start using it as well, and almost immediately it completely took off. The reason I chose her for this position is because she is now leading this organization, which has over 30 members, and they have already partnered with the High Dive to work on concerts. They have teamed up with music festivals and are the sustainability managers for different music festivals. They've partnered with local restaurants to help unlitter restaurants and encourage different establishments to use less single-use plastics and switch light bulbs to fluorescent bulbs, basically encouraging local places to just make small switches to help unlitter their business or unlitter their lifestyle. And she's been involved in a lot of different things. They've even done work over in Jamaica, and they have lots of plans for the future. And all of this happened in a matter of months. So I immediately knew that I wanted to talk to Sabina and figure out what it was about her and about this organization that has made it so successful in such a small amount of time. It was really awesome to get to sit down and interview her because you can tell almost immediately that one of the main reasons this organization has become so successful is because she, as a leader, started this entire movement with a passion. She just knew that she wanted to spread awareness and to encourage the conversation. And she knew that she cared about what she was doing. She said she had no real idea of where it would go or what it would turn into, but she was passionate, and she opened herself up to accepting all possibilities and brought people onto her team that she knew was passionate as well. And since then, it's absolutely skyrocketed. The organization would not be what it is now if it wasn't for Sabina and for the leader that she is. I also selected Sabina to sit down and talk to because I knew she would be really open to chatting with me, and I knew she would be very flattered that I selected her as a leader to interview. In fact, she even said towards the end of our interview that one of the greatest parts of this whole process has been seeing people's reactions to what she's doing. She recognized from high school sports that she's very oriented around positive feedback and positive reinforcement. And she said that's translated to this organization because when people talk about how Unlitter is going to be huge and how you can change the world, she gets so amped up, and then she can then pass that energy on to other people and to her subordinates or to her team. And so I know that this interview surely helped to create some of that energy that she will be able to spread to her organization and to her followers, and will ultimately help to make this movement even more successful. As far as my perceptions of her throughout the interview, she is the epitome of a leader that leads for a cause rather than applause. She's so humble. She would never attribute the success of the organization to herself. She said, actually, in the interview, quote, "I am not negating what I do, but really it's this movement that is evoking this response and this following and this passion. But what she'll never understand is that this movement could never be what it is without her. Her authenticity is so powerful, you feel it through the stickers tattooed around campus. You feel it when you venture onto the Instagram page and read through the posts. You feel it in every aspect of this organization, and you trust it and admire it, and you cannot help but want to be a part of it." And she set this standard, and others have just adapted to the culture that she provided and that she created. But she perpetually attributes this to others, or at least refuses to attribute it to herself. But I believe that's the main purpose of a leader, to almost act as a mediator or orchestrator of the collaboration of your followers' strengths, and that is 100% what she did. When she started this movement, she was almost like the shirtless dancing man that we watched in one of our lectures. She had the guts to stand alone. But what was highlighted in this video was the importance of the first follower. The underappreciated role is so imperative to a movement because it shows others how to follow. But what's even more important about the first follower is that the leader embraces the first follower as an equal. This initial leader-follower relationship sets the tone for the organization and ultimately determines whether or not others will also want to follow, and whether or not the movement will gain momentum. Therefore, it's so important to remember the importance of nurturing the first few followers as equals. And Sabina has this skill down to an art. When I asked her what is something she's always tried to keep in mind as a leader when communicating with her team, she said she's always tried to recognize and remember that you want to push and lift everyone up around you. Nothing is more important than the other people's feelings and their life experiences and their happiness. The dancing man scenario was brought up during our lesson on the skills approach to leadership. And looking at this approach, I would say that Sabina excels in all areas. Human skill by far is her strongest skill, as she has created an environment that doesn't stop at making people feel psychologically safe, but goes as far as to make people even better and more excited and optimistic and creative versions of themselves. And she definitely has the technical skill. She's about to graduate with a master's in business management, so she's realistic and understands what needs to be done and how to execute these things, and also what can't be done. And as far as conceptual skill, she has a firm understanding and idea for what the company stands for and the culture of the company and where she sees it going. But at the same time, she can remain so open and welcoming to new ideas. She works extremely well with abstractions and hypothetical notions because she's so sure of the culture of the organization and so sure of this culture and mission bringing the organization success that she's excited by and welcomes and can envision so many opportunities for the organization. Another key leadership characteristic that I noticed in our interview was when she said, quote, "You are not leading people for a goal. You're leading people to better themselves and to embrace their creativity and to add value to their own lives." And this is almost the textbook definition of servant leadership. And through this form of leadership, she has had the ability to help her followers realize their full potential and enhance team effectiveness and really just work towards the greater good of the community. And she does have this altruistic motivation to just want to help others and serve for a purpose. And so I thought that was really inspiring. She also said, quote, "We have an idea we create together and deliverables assigned to specific teams to ensure we get things accomplished. But this works the best when people have the freedom to utilize their own creativity and past experiences and really throw their emotions into it." She said it's really important to help the people you're working with reach their maximum creative potential and help them grow on an individual level. She said it's been amazing having the chance to share what their wisdoms and knowledge they've gained with each other and work not always for the goal of the company, but for the individuals. And this was extremely reminiscent of the transformational leadership concept. The four components of transformational leadership are idealized influence, leaders' ability to be a positive role model, inspirational motivation, individualized consideration, being able to connect with each follower and be in tune with the follower's needs and goals and strengths, and intellectual stimulation, challenging the followers to be creative and to think differently and to be innovative. Basically develop followers' leadership capacity so that when the leader moves on, the followers can take on that leadership role. And she is actively doing this now. She's delegating missions and giving credit to her followers, almost like she's preparing them for the responsibility of a leader. My perception of Sabina after the interview was a million times more positive than it was before going into the interview, which I didn't think was possible. Everything she said felt so real and so authentic, and it was so honest, and I could feel through talking to her that she really did put every ounce of her true self and her true heart into this organization. She ended the interview with thanking me so much, which I thought was really interesting. I was flattered that she was so flattered, and she was so excited and so stoked to have gotten to talk to me about this, and so excited that I selected her as a leader to interview. And I was really moved by this because I was the one that was thanking her so much for taking time out of her day. I thought that that really just spoke again to her character and her authenticity. So I left the interview with a very positive perception of Sabina as a person and as a leader. And I know that this organization will be so successful. And it truly is because of the person and the leader that Sabina is.